All right, welcome to our weekly Head Coach Scott Satterfield press conference. Coach will start us off with a quick opening statement. Please raise your hand for questions. Coach?
All right, good afternoon. First of all, just talk about the game Saturday. It was obviously a great outcome to get the win. It was fun to be back and playing at Nippert again in front of our great fans. Awesome whiteout. You go back and watch the film and just see how everybody's white along the stadium there. It was great atmosphere. We talked about this post game, but they a couple of delayed games, had a false start. All those things matter. So it's great. We're going to be playing there again this week against Pitt. So, solid performance out of a lot of people. I thought in the game, as you go back and watch the tape, offensively, I thought very efficient. 658 yards, which ended up being a great day in yardage-wise. I think we looked at the country in yards and, top yardage in the Big 12 in the first weekend. And, obviously like to score more points. Left some points out there. Defensively, really disappointed in a couple of plays, big plays that they were able to hit on us. And then, a couple of late hits on the quarterback that kept drives alive for them. Obviously disappointed in that. And, so some things to work on for sure, defensively to get better as we got Pitt coming up, which is a, different offense this week. And then, special teams wise, I think, Mason punted the ball great, had 2 bombs, and, kickoff return was really good. But other than that, we got to get better. We had a kickoff out of bounds. We missed a field goal. We've muffed a punt. We got to get better in that aspect for sure. And, but again, looking back on it overall, it was a great win. We had 34 players, made their debut as Bearcats. There's a lot of newcomers and that played their first game. Sanks, first freshman to start in a while. Thought he played well. And, I think, obviously something to build off of as we move forward to Pitt. We're excited about playing Pitt and hosting them here. It's been a great rival game over the years. Coach Narduzzi, a guy who coached here, and was a DC for several years. And so he knows a lot about the Bearcats, obviously. And, they're coming off a big win where they scored 55 points and, a new look offense. Transfer quarterback from Alabama, really 30 for 40, had a really efficient day. The running back had a big day as well. I think over 250 yards all purpose. Coming in from Western Carolina. Defensively, they look the same. It's a Narduzzi defense. They're flying around. They're putting pressure on the offense and causing havoc. So, obviously looking forward to the week to play Pitt and, can't wait to get back in Nippert.
Questions for Coach?
When you get news like Dante getting cleared, what's the boost in morale upstairs on the 7th floor when you get that word?
Yeah, it's obviously excited for Dante. I think Dante's been really working really hard this summer and throughout August, as we've been mentioning. Just waiting to get the okay to go play, and for him, he's so excited to be able to have the opportunity to wear a black jersey at practice and to be able to go out and do the things that everybody else is doing. And I think obviously he's a great player and you want to have him out there, but more than anything, it's his presence, it's his leadership, it's being able to go out and play with his teammates. That's what he wants. And, so I think more than anything, that's what we're excited about, to be able to let him go out there and do what he loves to do. And so, it'll be awesome to see the big boy go out there and play.
He's been practicing, but he hasn't been hitting.
That's right.
How soon can he adjust, or can he just roll out of bed and plow people?
Well, that remains to be seen, right? We're going to take it day by day and to see how practice goes today and, as we go throughout the rest of the week. It's still going to be a day-to-day thing, but I do know he's worked really hard. As you mentioned, he hadn't done the 11-on-11 work, but he's worked individually on some pads and some, working his hands and his feet and all the different things. That's not real football, as we know, but I think, he's been playing it for most of his life, so I feel like he'll be able to step right in and be able to go.
You mentioned Eli Holstein and Desmond Reed, the new running back, but Cade Bell's in his first year as offensive coordinator. How different did the plays look, the scheme look as a whole for Pitt when you broke them down on film?
From last year?
Yeah.
Totally different. They're a no huddle, fast pace, spread the ball all over the place type offense. It's you see these type offenses throughout the country. As you turn the TVs on and watch highlights. But they're going to spread you out. I mean, they're going to go fast. If you give them an off coverage somewhere, they're going to take it. They're going to throw the ball there. I mean, it's basically a take what they give you type offense. And so, if you spread everybody out, they're going to hand the ball to the running back. And he's obviously a dynamic player. I mean, he also had a punt return for a touchdown this past weekend as well. So he certainly got speed, but the quarterback was efficient in his throws too. He was an accurate passer, catchable balls. I mean, so it's a totally different offense. And so certainly going to have a work cut out for us to try to slow that offense down. I mean, I think, Cade Bell, you mentioned he was at Western Carolina, and I think they led the country in FCS offense in 23. And so, he's coming in and really with a lot of confidence knowing that they can move the football. And then they scored 55 points as well. So, it's certainly different offense compared to what they've had the last couple of years.
Your defense only gave up 3 points in the second half, and that was on the first possession. What can you, from your vantage point, what can you take away from that can carry over into Saturday's game?
Yeah, I mean, we did. We played much better in the second half with that, and the disappointing thing on that was we were off the field and we had to late hit on the quarterback. And they ended up getting an 11-play drive on that. But other than that, I thought we played very solid in the second half. And a lot of it, you go back and look, it was just, being in the right gaps, fitting in the right places. I did think our guys, and I mentioned this after post-game, going back and looking at it, they ran, they played hard. I mean, they were physical, they ran hard, played hard. If as long as we continue to do that, we'll get better at fitting our gaps and being where we're supposed to be. And so those are the things we got to work on and be great this week, because as I mentioned before, I mean, it's a no-huddle offense. If you line up a little bit wrong, you're out of position, they're going to make you pay. So you got to be where you're supposed to be, and then you still got to play fast and hard.
Reagan?
What do you make of Joe Royer's performance on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, it was really good. I mean, he was fun to watch. I think, when you walk out on the field with Joe, he looks a little different, I think, just in general, because, he's such a big player. He's 6'5", 255, and he's got soft hands. He can run. He made plays. It looked like he got maybe a little tired, and we were using him a lot in the first half. And, and then he catches the ball in the flat and he jumps over the defender, and I was like, wow, that's pretty athletic right there, And so probably like everybody else, just watching him, because he hadn't played a whole lot of football. I think maybe 4 career catches that he's had, and he had 5, Saturday. And so I think he's a very talented player. I think he, the sky's the limit on what he can do. So, we'll continue to obviously use him, and what goes probably unnoticed is his blocking. I mean, he's an excellent blocker as well. And so to be able to use him in the run game, blocking, but also in the pass game, I mean, he's certainly a weapon.
I know you want to spread the ball around offensively and get it to the open guy, but how much does it help having Royer and then Xavier Henderson on the outside, where you've got kind of 2 feature guys that really demand a lot of attention? Yeah,
I mean, I think, it's nice to have those 2 guys. It's a little bit of a security blanket when you think about those 2, because they both have good size and speed, can catch the football, and they can do some things when they get the ball in their hands. So to be able to have both of those guys, it really helps. And then the other guys made plays. I mean, AT made the play on the first drive there, made a guy miss, and it was a big play. And so I think, those guys are going to make their plays as well throughout the offense, as you mentioned. I mean, if they are double covering those other 2, we got to be able to get the ball to those guys. And so, but it's nice to have 2 guys with size that we feel like they're open a lot of times, and that's a good security blanket for a quarterback.
At 275 running, you ran well against Pitt last year. Do you feel more confident this year with what you saw out of Pryor, what Kiner can do, and then if you want to tell me if Phil Wilder's playing, that'd be nice too.
Well, no, Phil's still questionable on that. We're not sure if we'll have Phil or not, but I think the guys that did play, I thought they played well up front, and I think it was good to see what Pryor was able to do. His first carry, took it to the house, a 60-some yard run. He does have speed. He does have talent. The other thing he can do is catch the ball in the backfield. He's got really good hands, so we'll probably utilize a little bit more of that. And but we know what kind of Corey can do as well. But a lot of it really just starts with the guys up front. And if you can create a little bit of a crease, or we feel like our guys are going to be able to pop that open and get some big plays. And it was good to see, Pryor make the safety miss and go score. Last year we had some long runs, but we didn't have any long runs for touchdowns, and it was nice to see the touchdown there. And for him to have some juice in his legs to be able to take the distance, it's good to see, and hopefully we see more of that.
Joe talked about after the game on Saturday about the rivalry between Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. You said when you got the job, that you've admired the Bearcats program from afar. Have you had conversations with Joe and others about what this rivalry is, and how excited are you to play against Pitt in Nippert Stadium Saturday afternoon?
Oh, very excited to play them here. Yeah, I mean, I've read up on some of the games and the rivalry games. I think it was the last time they were here, we won, right? Coach Stewart, our D-line coach, was actually playing maybe one of his last games. So, yeah, I mean, it's a big game. It's an ACC team. It's another power team in another conference. I mean, you get to measure yourself when, as far as that goes, and also, a team that's not far from us, that's right up the road. And to be able to host that team here, to come play us here. I mean, obviously we went over there last year. It was a big win for us last year, and but it's also the next team on our schedule. I mean, we're taking it 1 week at a time, and we got Pitt this week, and we got a great challenge, and we're looking forward to it.
I know you haven't changed DCs a lot in your career, but how much time do you think that takes to adjust to a new guy, a new system, and then obviously on top of that, 15, 20 new guys on defense as well?
Yeah, a lot of guys. A lot of new guys on defense, and what was it, 26 or 27 guys had a tackle on Saturday. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, it takes time. I mean, it's just, the little nuances of the defense, where you have to line up, where do you need to be, your eyes need to be, all those things, and the defense football have to work together, and it does take a little bit of time, and, unfortunately, we don't have any time. I mean, we got to get ready to go, and we got a much more dynamic offense coming in here this week compared to last week, with a lot more speed at a lot of different places, and and obviously a very talented quarterback. I didn't mention their tight end. He's a really good player. He's been around a long time. I feel like he's played 7 or 8 years, but he's been there a long time, and last year had a big game against us as well. So there's a lot of challenges when you look at this and what they do offensively, and so we got to get it corrected this week.
Sorry to switch back to the other side, but your O-line, you mentioned the run blocking. One of the things that I noticed was the amount of time that Sorsby had back there. I thought from a pass protection standpoint, which is something you brought up, you needed to be better this year.
That's right.
It was phenomenal.
Yeah, it really was. The guys they did a great job up front on Saturday. Just a couple of times where he had to get out of the pocket, and one of the things that we wanted to see was Sorsby, how would he react out of the pocket? Those unscheduled plays, and I thought he did an outstanding job with that. Dumping the ball off, keeping his eyes up down the field. A great example was when he came out to the left and found Sterling down the sideline where the blown coverage. I mean, sometimes it's hard to see that guy all the way down. He was able to see it and make the throw. So I thought he did a great job with that. But the guys up front did good. And obviously, a bigger challenge this week, with what Pitt does. And, when I was in the ACC for those 4 years, I mean, Pitt was always one of the top sack teams in the country. And I'm not even sure how many they had last week, but they hit the quarterback a lot last week. And they were in the backfield. I felt like the whole game. So we're going to have a plan, get rid of the football, and have a plan of how we're going to protect. And, get rid of the ball, I think, is probably the biggest thing.
You mentioned Jaquan Sanks started as a true freshman. Obviously, when he got here, he was physically impressive. But when did you kind of realize that it goes from being physically impressive to someone who could start in his first ever college game?
Yeah, I think probably sometime during camp, because we're repping 3 to 4 guys at that star position and getting them a lot of reps in there. Really looked at the scrimmages that we had, a couple of big scrimmages, and he just did a little bit better. And and then I think you go out there and watch him this past week. I thought, man, he played a really good game for his first college football game. He's got poise. I mean, and for and maturity for a young player. That's and his body's already pretty physically imposing for a true freshman at this point of his career. So, and I think he'll just continue to get better and better this year. Really, what he lacks is experience. And so, obviously, that was a good game for him to get experience. Now, it's a different animal this week, so he'll have to continue to improve and all that. But I'm very proud of how he went out and played.
I know it's been a long time since Narduzzi's been here, but are there any similarities that you see that stand out with his Pitt teams now and when he was here at Cincinnati?
Well, I think just defensively, he's always obviously been a defensive mind, and I feel like, wherever he's like Michigan State or at Pitt, I mean, he's been at Pitt now, I think, 10 years. You really can turn the film on from any point in time, and it's very similar defensively. Some of the same blitzes, the aggressive nature and aggressive style. One of the things that I'm very impressed with is when they do bring pressure, they're relentless, and all his teams have been that way. Like is crazy. I mean, that's how they're coaching them, obviously, because they've all been that way. It doesn't matter who the guys are. So he does a great job with it. And when you do that, you always give yourself a chance, when you play great defense. So I do think there's a lot of similarities of how he's played defense throughout his whole career.
I know it's only been one game, but Sorsby won Big 12 Newcomer of the Week. And somebody with his skill set, how much do you feel like he opens up the offensive playbook?
Yeah, I think as long as he continues to make good decisions, then we can continue to build on the playbook and add more things to it, because it really all comes down to decision making. Having a plan with the ball, when the ball is snapped, depending on what the defense has given us. And again, Sorsby's a sophomore. I mean, he's a young player. So, doesn't have a ton of experience. And so he's still learning things and what he sees out there. But I did like his poise. I like the way his vision was and his decision making. So, hopefully he'll continue to build on that. Again, this week will be different, a new challenge. And let's hope he'll be ready for this challenge this week.
What stood out with Sorsby when you watch film with him? When he breaks down what he's doing out there, what did you like from that? And how much do you coach up a young quarterback about, hey, this is how we watch film here, maybe as opposed to where you did in the past?
Yeah, I mean, we just try to, go through it and the way we see it as coaches and what we're looking for. And, depending on what the play is, I mean, hey, we're looking for this certain thing. If they give us, if he does this, then we're going to do that, and really kind of coach through that. And on Saturday, it was good to see because whenever he'd come off, hey, what'd you see? And he'd tell you what it was. And, now we can go back and look at it on the iPad there and say, oh, yeah, there it is. Can't really lie. You got to, we can't. What you see is what you better tell us. And so it was good. I mean, again, he missed a couple reads on Saturday. One of them was when he hit Jamoy early in the game. He scores the next play on a zone play, but he probably had a touchdown pass. He turned it down. He thought it was a little cloudy, and then came right to Jamoy, threw a first down, which was great. But those are the type things. But I mean, if you see that and you think it's cloudy, then don't make the throw. And we'll just have to coach through that. But I do think as he goes back and he watches film and he'll learn and he'll grow from that. And I think, but the game is kind of slow for him, especially for a guy who's just a true, redshirt sophomore.
There's a lot of talk about Marquez Parker in the through camp. He didn't see action Saturday. Is he close? Are you still trying to get him fully up to speed?
I do think he's close. Again, hard for a freshman to come in and play, but he's certainly got talent. He's got good size. I mean, he's close to 275 now. He's got twitch. He's one of the faster D linemen that we have. And so, yeah, it's just going to be a matter of mentally getting him ready, and hopefully he's getting closer to that because I feel like we'll certainly be able to use him this year. I mean, he's a guy that I think has a huge ceiling, and why not try to get him in there early in the year and see what he can do, and hopefully becomes a player for us this year. I mean, I think he's certainly got the talent for it.
Two other freshmen, Simeon Coleman, Monte Whedon. They did not look like freshmen. The way that they played and the way that they hit. Is their physicality really what sets those two apart?
It is. They're fun to watch. Both of those guys are fun to watch, and they're a little bit like Parker because they're still learning. I mean, they're going to make mistakes. It's like, you grade Simeon, you're like, all right, that's a minus on what you're supposed to do, but great tackle. And it feels like there's a lot of that. He somehow just finds the ball, right? And ultimately, that's what we want. But and then when he does, he's got bad intentions. Like he always knocks the guy back, always, which is a great trait to have if you're a linebacker. Because he's low center of gravity and he has a great punch. And Monte's the same way. And both of those guys are fun to watch. Man, they got bright futures ahead of them. But hopefully, as we go throughout the season, they'll get more and more comfortable playing and be able to get out there and make a lot more plays for us.
A lot of guys got touches Saturday. Was there any one that you said, wow, I'd really like to get him more involved?
I don't. Joe Royer, just keep feeding him the ball, maybe. I don't know. He does some good things when you get him the ball. I mean, he had 5 catches.
That's all in the first half?
Yeah, I think it was all in the first half, yeah. But we didn't throw it in the fourth quarter either, So, I don't know. I mean, I like to see some more Jamoy, too. I like to see what he can do. I think he's a good-sized player that I think can do some great things when he gets the ball in his hand. Tyron Smith, I'd like to be able to try to get him loose a little bit down the field. I think he really runs well. But I think overall, we certainly want to take what the defense gives us, and try to find those guys different ways to get the ball in space and see what they can do. But I mean, obviously we were pleased, with the output of yardage that we had. We were able to move the football And hopefully these guys, I mean, particularly these young guys, I mean, the new guys, I mean, Jamoy and Tony and Tyron, I mean, those new guys, let's see what they can do when they get those opportunities.
Any questions for Coach? Thank you, sir.
All right,
Thanks,
thanks,
Coach.
guys.
Let's go.